Hey everyone, this is Larry and Emily with Keelers. Long-time fans of DDP Yoga.
Yep.
Give you a little bit of backstory about our history with the program. We've been dating, 6 months when we first tried it?
Yeah, I guess.
I had hit a weight that I wasn't happy with of about 370. And
you're 400, weren't you?
not the first time.
Yeah, the first time you were 400.
Was I really?
Yeah.
I don't remember being that big at the
Yeah,
first. Either way, I hit 400 and we'd bought the DVDs and we were doing them, just following the basic program, the beginners, 3 to 2 times a week. And I lost like 40, 50 pounds and had some really good success. And I don't know how much you lost during that period.
Like 30 or 40 pounds?
So it was during that time, we were just doing it because we saw the Arthur video and we figured it was something we could do.
Yeah.
And we had some success. The problem is we both have pretty addictive personalities and we both have issues with binge eating and...
No, binge eating and emotional...
Yeah.
And emotional regulation problems and emotional eating problems.
So we threw a very large Halloween party and I drank way too much and let myself fall off track, and we kind of motivate each other.
No, we're codependent we're codependent in our success. So if one of us fucks up, the other one fucks up. And if one of us is successful, the other one is successful. And so that's how that works.
So one of us fell off. I'm pretty sure it was me that fell off. And it kind of just stayed that way. And we went that way for quite a few years. We got married. And it wasn't a month after we got married that you emailed DDP Yoga for help.
And it was December. It was actually December.
We were married December 16th.
Yeah, and then it was like the beginning of, it was like the first week of January or something.
She sent a heartfelt email to the DDP Yoga support staff. And what's funny is Dallas actually forwarded it to me, so I have read it.
Oh, really?
I found it in my emails when I was looking for something. But somehow along the lines, she asked for help, not knowing what she was asking for. And
no, I just asked for motivation. I was like, hey, I just want, if he could like send you a text or, phone call or something, just being like, hey, do this. And I didn't even know that he had done that previously. I just was like, just try it. Maybe it works.
So I remember the day. I'll never forget it. It was January 15th. We were driving back from her grandmother's house. We just had dinner with her grandmother and uncle. I was the biggest I'd ever been in my life.
That was when you were like 415.
Yeah. And my phone rings. And those of you that have had this experience know what I'm going through right now. And phone rings and it says unknown number. And you don't answer it. You hit ignore. Well, not 30 seconds later, the phone rings again and says, I should probably answer it this time. So I answer it, and this raspy voice comes on the phone. Hey, Larry. And you're like, I know the voice. I recognize the voice. But I can't place it. She placed it before I did.
That's because I had forgot that I had sent the letter.
And you can see behind me, I'm a wrestling fan. I've got the WCW Championship. I've got AEW. I'm a wrestling fan. I've been a fan of Dallas since I can remember. And when I finally realized who it was right as he said, "It's Dallas, it's DDP." I was like, "Holy shit!" He's like, "What are you doing?" "I'm driving." "Well, pull the fuck over." So I did. I pulled off the freeway and we sat and we talked to him a good 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
He told me all about the email that Emily sent and how much she cares about me, and obviously she wants us to be healthy together. So he gave us some instruction involved watching Resurrection of Jake the Snake and some other food documentaries. Had us go on gluten-free, dairy-free diet, organics, and we did everything he said, to the point where he had us email him every day with our complete list of what we ate that day and what workout we did. And I know he does that for other people. He's done that for people like Vance and, a few others. And I never would have thought he would have been that involved, because he would take the time to reply to me every day. Even if it was an emoji just saying, bang, or, thumbs up or something, he would give me a reply. And if he saw something that needed adjustment, he would take the time to adjust. I can remember he called and left me a voicemail saying, Larry, remind me to tell you about bread. And so we'd call him and he'd tell us, these types of breads and stuff like that. He was always... He always helped us tweak what we needed to tweak. And we did it. We started working out almost daily at that point. We weren't quite the everyday.
No, we started with Stand Strong, because we both had limited mobility.
And that was something he had to make us realize, is limited mobility was a real thing. Even though we didn't feel like we had it.
Yeah.
So we did the Stand Strong, and then we went on to beginner.
And then we went to intermediate.
And then we started asking Dallas what workout he recommends. And he would say, well, do this one in between and try this one if there's none. And then he said, I would really want you guys to work out a minimum of 40 minutes a day.
Yeah.
At least 5 days a week. And we started doing it. And, just like in all the other videos you see, the weight came off. The flexibility came back. The strength came back. The passion came through, and we started doing really well. Sorry, our dog is trying to be the star of the show.
Jesus Christ.
It's our 6-month-old pug. Forgive us.
Go give it.
And we got the wonderful call at almost a year in from Dallas that we've been invited to the summit.
Yeah.
And at that point, I hadn't, we do the SmackDown goals. And at that point, I hadn't really focused on them, and I kind of really got reinvigorated for it. And I remember setting a goal to make sure I was a certain weight by the time we went to the summit. And I made that goal. I was really proud of myself.
Yeah, because you were 280 or something?
Yeah, I got below the 300-pound mark, and I can't remember. I was in high school last time that happened.
Yeah.
But one thing Dallas always says is don't just think it, ink it.
Honestly, I might have been at my high school weight, too, when we went to the summit.
You probably were, because we both made some pretty big progress.
Yeah, I was skinny.
And...
That's why I was so cold.
And I went in before we went to Georgia for the summit. I went and had this Unstoppable tattoo done. And a lot of you on the community have seen it and know what happens next. But we go to the summit and we meet Dallas and we meet all of our friends like Adam and Vance and Double J. And you got to have a really cool day with Brenda.
Yeah. There's a bunch of crazy shit that happened.
It was really... We got to meet, Tom Wallen and Hayden and Garrett, and if I miss anyone, I'm sorry. The summit was a huge, amazing motivational trip for us. To the point where I had this tank top I had bought when we first started. This was a 3X, and at the summit, in one of the classes, it fell off of me during the workout. Pugsley, no. And I vowed that day I would never put it on again. Pugsley!
I swear. Here, go here.
So what I did is I put on a different shirt, and I literally had every instructor that was there at the summit sign it. So we've got Hayden's signature, we've got Beverly Boma. We've got Aaron Johnson. I mean, Steve David's on here. And we actually have Dallas on here, too. He's signed right here. But I vowed I'd never put it back on. And I haven't. We came home from the summit, and we were feeling really good. We had a lot of different progress happen, and a lot of different things happen.
Yeah, that was March of 2019.
Right.
When we came back.
April. Sorry, I gotta put this where the dog's not gonna show it. And in April, we did our first 5K.
Right, there was a lot of good things that happened.
Through that year, we had a lot of good things, and to that point where we started consistently doing DDPY every day.
Yeah, I was working out and working every day at dry bar, which was always a huge thing for me because I didn't want to overexert and then not be able to move. But, like, I was just, like, healthy and, like, it was great.
We felt amazing. We weren't worried about the weight anymore. We were more worried about how we felt. And I felt great. I was hiking every weekend.
That's true.
Every weekend, my friend Alex and I would go on a hike. Our local hike would be minimum 2 miles. We were training to do another hike that was going to be a 16-mile round trip. You know, I did everything I could. We were doing 2-a-day workouts. We were doing, we did a lot of stuff, and we pushed ourselves really hard, and got to a point where I can't remember being that thin.
Yeah, I was 220. It was insane.
You
and
know,
literally, that was like always like, I was like, oh, I just want to be 220. Like I always said, I want to be 180, but like I never was 180. It was just like
my goal weight, and still to this day is my goal weight, is to be back at my wrestling weight, which was 250 pounds. I didn't quite get there in this run. Well, let's fast forward to when the real shit hit the fan.
Well, no, before that, because I was having problems with eating, because there was a lot of different problems that were developing, and then I ended up getting into like an emotional eaters group through Kaiser, and then that's when shit, because they told me that I wasn't supposed to diet, and then
we had been trying every diet under the sun, from keto to South Beach to we did paleo at one point. Yeah, we did carnivore. I mean,
we did vegan. We did everything, and like that's the problem is that they're like clinicals. There's been since like June of 2019, or no, October 2019 to October 2020. It was just a year of constant like, mindful eating and like eating balanced and like eating your vegetables. Like that's what you want to focus on, or else you're not going to lose weight or whatever. And so at that time, that's when the weight started coming back on for the both of us, because then we weren't restricting anymore. And when you restrict for so long, because we restricted for at least 3 years, then we started to gain weight again.
Yeah, we started plateauing really hard.
No, we weren't plateaued, because I was plateaued for 6 months prior to that.
Yeah, you plateaued before I did.
Yeah, and then I started, because you can only plateau for so long before your hormones don't regulate at that lower level, and then I started gaining back, and then January is when your thing happened.
Yeah, so when that started happening, and then in January, my mom gave me kind of a verbal blow. Nothing like, she didn't really cuss me out or anything, but she
no, it was just emotional, because
it was very emotional. And I want to preface this: I'm not trying to paint my mom as a villain. I'm not trying to paint her as a bad person. I love my mom. Everyone loves their parents.
But it's just something that you couldn't emotionally understand, and so the only way for you to regulate it was to eat.
Right.
To calm yourself down. So
she told me that she was going to sell the house I grew up in, which we were renting the back house from her.
And your whole life she told you that this was going to be your house.
Right. That was my inheritance. I had been promised that my whole life. You have to do all these things around the house, all these projects to keep the house up, because it's going to be yours. Why do I work so hard if you don't want it? And then for her to tell me she's selling it to move up to Bakersfield to be with her sister. It was just a really huge slap in the face in my mind. And it caused me a lot of distress. And so I had to spend the first 2.5 months looking for a place to live.
Which in turn was still stressful. So this was January through February 15th.
Into March, yeah.
No, because it was to the mid of February. So for 6 weeks, we were looking at apartments, trying to figure it out, trying to make as much money as possible, trying to work.
Here in Southern California, rent is not cheap.
No, like the average rent in LA is like $3,500, $2,500 a month.
And we had to come up with first, last, all that stuff. And it just, when you weren't planning on a move and you're being forced to move, it's really stressful. To the point, the only way I could get people to understand what I was going through, aside from the whole emotional part of being my childhood home, was imagine you're being evicted. Like right away, I need you out as soon as possible. But then at the same time, oh, by the way, come back and fix everything so we can sell it.
And then as soon as possible. So you and I feel like I helped a little bit, but you, for the most part, were before work, after work, was there every day, trying to get shit together. Trying to put shit together.
Every weekend.
Like, for you essentially put in a 40-hour work week and then put another 40 hours on top of it fixing the house. And so, prior to that, your escape was working out and stop. And being able to get back to normal. And so that never worked out. And so the whole thing is you had to get this done because now, you had no escape because your only escape was to fix things, to get, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Stop,
Pugsley, stop. Pugsley!
Sorry. So come March, we finally found our place and we moved out.
Stop it.
And, we were here, and during that time I was getting up, going to work, going to my mom's after work, all that cycle through May. And then in May was when she moved up north. Well, by that time it'd been, 3.5 months, 5 months since the emotional breakdown hit, and I hadn't worked out the timing for myself to do it, and I was coping with eating.
Well, yeah, and then you guys would have fights, and the only way for her to bridge the gap would be to bring you out Little Caesars or something like that. Or you guys hadn't eaten all day, and it's like, well, what are you going to eat? And it's like, I don't know. And then it was like some sort of fast food or,
right.
And
then the fast food addiction came back, and then the soda addiction came back, and then it just snowballed from there.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple points where I've decided I need to get back on this. I need to get back on this. I absolutely have to get back on this. Sorry, the dog's trying to mess with the cat. And unfortunately, those didn't stick. I know at one point I reached out to Tom Wallen, I reached out to Vance, I reached out to Ryan, Steve Rubling. I've been listening to the Better Hit the Mat podcast, and I even spoke with Justin Dobbins. By the way, Justin, congratulations. You did awesome. Glad you made it to the finals. But I'm just not happy with where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, especially like being where we were to being where we are now, and just like,
they made the joke, people saying, oh, look, the quarantine 15 when the lockdown happened. I'm more like the quarantine 115. All the progress I've made is gone.
Yeah.
Not only just in the weight, in my size, but in my mobility. I've lost it all.
Oh, and your mental health.
My mental health is really screwed.
Yeah, same.
And, I have my friends in the community of Adam Hips and Steve Rubling and all these people, and they've been there for us so much, and I appreciate everything everyone's done. I really do. And, you can only motivate someone so much, but you have to be ready to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
And so what really brought this on is you had mentioned yesterday.
Yeah, as we were going to sleep, as I do, like my little passing little bullshits, where I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna do the Positively Unstoppable challenge, and then you were like, what? And then you passed out, and then I guess you remembered today.
Yeah, I remembered today, and I saw it helped that I saw a post about it. And then I keep seeing people posting about the Relentless video, the movie on Amazon Prime, which if you haven't watched it, you need to watch that. You need to watch The Resurrection, Shake the Snake. Watch both of them. But the Relentless video brought back a lot of those feelings I'd had through my whole experience with the stuff with Dallas reaching out to you and seeing the changes Dallas made in his life and how he's touched people's lives. You know, you look at the Arthur Borman video, you look at the Vance video, you look at Justin Dobbins' video, for crying out loud. I'm not saying I want one of these videos about me, but I wish I could have made one. And now I have to start all over.
Well, no, that was the whole thing. That's what I told Dallas. I was like, no, we can't make one this year. Because he was like, oh, didn't you guys make one? And I was like, no, we never got asked. And he was like, oh, they were supposed to do it. And I was like, no, because we're going to do it next year. Because we were only halfway there the first time.
So, now it's not just halfway, it's restart.
Oh, no. Now we have the drama. So now it'll be a real shit.
So, I guarantee you I'm never putting that tank top back on. But I need to get back to where I was, if not past. I want to eventually hit my goal weight of 250. I'm not worried about my overall size. It's getting back down to a healthy weight and maintaining it. So that's my weight goal, is getting back down to 250. That's quite a lot of weight to get to. I don't know how fast I'll be able to get there, but I will get there. And I need to get a control on my eating habits and my emotions. Oh, man.
What?
Of course, now he falls asleep.
I know. Well, that's how he works.
So that's where we're at. That's where we've been. Not trying to make excuses, just telling you where we're at. And
no, there's no excuses. It's just like that's where shit happens. Like, this year's been stressful as fuck.
Yeah, for everyone it's been stressful.
But like,
and then we're in quarantine right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
She works in in health and beauty, and
yep.
So it's been a rough year, and now what's even worse with me is I'm working from home, and we're in a small apartment, so my desk is 3 feet from our refrigerator. And when you have trouble with binge eating and always wanting to snack, having a refrigerator that close when you're sitting at a computer all day is very dangerous. I want to think I've done fairly well with it.
No, you have, for sure.
But obviously the different addictions have reared their ugly heads again. But
yeah, we definitely have to start tracking our food every day. And then forget what the other one was, but
we need to start tracking our food again.
Yeah.
Make sure we're staying with the gluten-free.
Yeah.
Keeping off of regular dairy.
Yeah.
You know, we have to, and make sure we're, balancing our meals.
Yeah, and there's a vegetable involved.
And potatoes don't count as vegetables.
Well, yeah, I know, like a real vegetable.
So, yeah. We're jumping back in. Anything to add? Oh, to finish off the tattoo, I didn't get to it when we went to the summit. I had Dallas sign my arm and had it inked in as a permanent reminder every time I look at it was to help motivate me. And, you know, I even talked to my mom today, and she's like, well, didn't that tattoo do it for you? I said, well, the tattoo motivates me when I'm on the mat. It doesn't get me off my ass, though. It's when I'm in that plank position, I need to hold out for another 20 seconds. I can look down and I can see it, and I'm going to be able to hold on longer. That's what I use it for. But it doesn't get me up out of my chair. Because I can easily sit like this and not see it. But if Dallas can do this as long as he has and continue going, if Vance hasn't given up, look at Adam, over 10 years. There should be no reason why we can't do this.
We were having trouble breathing last week. So, the week before.
Well, that has to do with being sick. Like you said, we were dealing with